I could go on this for days. I love Finnish food. It was really great. I think it maybe takes a little bit of getting used to in the beginning. I know that their dairy is a little bit rich, but it's so good. Like, oh, the yogurts and the ice cream is just like, it's something else out there. And I think too, pretty much every meal that we had, especially for like dinner appointments, was some sort of meat with some sort of potatoes and then some sort of like sauce or gravy on top. So like, it was great. I mean, we had like meatballs all the time, and then we had, you know, like, just like I said, some sort of meat with potatoes and gravy. So that was kind of, I felt like most of the entrees, but there's so many good foods out there. I mean, they've got these little, like risipuro, which is just like and karjan pierakka. Karjan pierakka is just like this little like pie that has like rice and like potatoes in it, and they just come and oh, it's just so good. Like, it's like this little like handheld pie that you can just, you know, take on the go, and you just eat them, and they're so delicious. And then I think another thing too is sinappi, which is the Finnish mustard. Let's just say that every time I go to Finland, or, you know, there's sometimes that we have to buy it online so we can get it here. All my family loves sinappi now, and all my friends do too. And, you know, whenever we're barbecuing or something, they're just like, do you have sinappi? Like, you know, we need some sinappi. So you could definitely have to try the sinappi, which is the Finnish mustard. Even if you don't like mustard, try sinappi. It might turn you around to the mustard life. But it's just so good. And then, like, they've got some really good desserts as well. One of the things that I really liked was memmi, and this is kind of a hit or miss with missionaries. Some missionaries don't really like it, but it's kind of like it's like molasses and like some like rye as well, and it's kind of mixed up. It looks black. It almost looks like a black pudding, but then you scoop it up, put it in a bowl, and then you put cream and sugar on top of it, and it's really good. And then, you know, they have salmiakki, which is salted black licorice, which I'll be honest takes a little bit of getting used to, but, you know, there's, at the end of, you know, by about halfway through your mission, you're going to be looking for something to put in your mouth. You always put a little salmiakki in there, and you just kind of suck on that for a little bit, and it's great. So the food overall was just amazing, and I just loved everything about it. Like I said, the dairy can be a little bit heavy, but it's so good. It's the best. It'll change your life for sure. Salmon soup is it's called lohikeito in Finnish, and it is like, it changed my life forever. I mean, it's the greatest soup I've ever had in my entire life, and it's kind of fun. It's like the one thing that I've really taken back with me, and I make it for my family, you know, every so often, and just make it for friends sometimes. But it's, you know, it's just like salmon with like there's like usually some sort of like greens, like some green onion or something in there, and potatoes, and it's just in this like broth and like some cream that they add in as well. It's really good. So you definitely have to try the salmon soup, and yeah, you'll be hooked. So they've got some really good sodas out there. Pommac, I think, is something you'd have to try as well. And the Dr. Pepper tastes a lot better out there. I don't know what the deal is, but definitely try some Pommac. The candies, I mean, you can just go and like, the chocolate is really good, so you can go get some Fatser chocolate and just kind of experiment with which ones you like. You know, you've got to buy a lot of different bars, but sooner or later you'll find that one. And you know, my companion and I, we used to have in the middle of the winter when we were up in Rovaniemi, which is the northernmost city in the mission, we used to have this thing that says 800 grams a day keeps depression away. So we ate a lot of chocolate, and you know, when it's dark outside and it's cold, it's always nice to come back and have that bar of chocolate that you can kind of go and munch on. So I think just, you know, go to the candy store, go to the convenience stores there, and pick out some candies, find something that looks good. But yeah, any sort of the Fatser bars, you're not gonna regret buying. So it was a lot of chocolate. So we were walking and riding bikes a lot, so hopefully we burned some of it off, but not the most healthy experience.
The Finnish food is kind of like the Finnish people. Finnish people are very simple in what they do. And their food is pretty simple and pretty basic, meaning they like to eat potatoes and different types of meat and sauce over potatoes and things like that. They're generally pretty healthy eaters, meaning they do eat lots of vegetables and things. But but for the most part, their food is pretty simple. The biggest thing that I really liked about Finnish food and Finnish cuisine is their pastries called pulla. And it's a Finnish type of sweet roll. And there's actually different versions of pulla, and some have cream cheese in the middle, some have fruit inside, some have raisins and nuts inside, but they're all so delicious. You just have to limit how much you eat. But pulla is really good. And they also have they look like little rice cakes. They're called riisipiirakka, and it's basically a rye bread type of shell, and then you have a rice porridge inside. Sometimes there'll be rice, sometimes there'll be potatoes, and sometimes it'll be sweet potatoes. But it's with the rye bread, and then you bake it, and you can put butter or egg or cucumber or ham on top, and it's like a little sandwich, and it's really good. It's a really good meal when you're in a hurry. And those are some of my favorite things about Finnish food. But it's pretty basic and simple, which for me I really liked and enjoyed. That I wasn't expected to see these fancy meals or go to make these fancy meals. That it's pretty basic.
Finnish food, it's honestly it's very good. I'm sure everyone says about that. Wherever they're serving the food is delicious. So Finnish food, so there's a lot of dairy. So people love milk, and it's the best milk you'll ever have. A wide variety of cheeses of all sorts, and so you have tons of cheeses. You also have just huge dairy, like tons of yogurts, everything. It's just delicious. At the same time, a lot of food is many different soups with like hot dogs or sausages, I guess is a translated word. It's called a makara. But anyway, pretty much it's just the basic potatoes, meat, kind of brown sauces and all this kind of stuff. There's spices. They don't use any spices. I mean, nothing spicy. They will use like for Christmas dishes and that kind of stuff. For instance, the name like some basic foods you might be eating every day. If you visit a member's home, very common thing is naki keito, which is just it's like a sausage soup. Very common. It's just very great stuff they make. It's just everything's homemade and very few processed goods. And so, for instance, if you're buying fruit or vegetables, you need to eat them quickly because they don't last long, because they're very fresh and very delicious. And at the same time, they're not processed or any they don't have like any additives, and so they will not be last. They don't have a long shelf life. And at the same time, the bakery goods are delicious. I'm sure if we had, they're pretty fattening, I'm sure, but very good bakery goods. All sorts of delicious bread like pulla, which we don't have in America. It's a rich, thick bread. Very good though, very common. You'll have very often. Other things we'll be eating all the time are a wide variety of berries. Because it's a swampy kind of place, not like swampy dirty, just a lot of lakes, no mountains, and so because of all the lakes, it's very moist and it rains a lot, and so they have you'll ride your bike down paths all the time, and you'll find just strawberries, raspberries, blueberries just growing out all over the place. And so you'll have many wide varieties of jams, and that's honestly one of the big things is you'll have jam with your meat, with a lot of things, and so it's delicious. I love it. I love jam. At the same time, very common thing you'll have for lunch almost every day is probably open-ended sandwiches, which is just like it's a slice of you called ruisleipä, which is just rye bread. They don't have white bread. They rarely use white bread. It's very healthy, whole wheat, or it's rye bread. And you'll just have, with your meat on there, with your cheese. Of course, you're going to put the butter on. They love their butter. And it's very plain food, but it's very good because it's just so fresh and everything's homemade. And then a few random foods. I mean, I'm sure you might have heard of it. Mammy is something to eat during Easter, which is just, you could say, blended rye bread, and they turn it into it almost looks like they put it onto like a platter, almost like a little pan or something, and they cook it. It doesn't taste good. They don't even like how it tastes, but they put a lot of cream with it. It's just a tradition. They eat it, and so you eat that once a year for Easter. And then Christmas, you'll have casseroles like crazy. My favorite dish in Finland is liver casserole. Sounds gross, but it's really good. I love liver casserole. They're so great at making liver. You go to restaurants, order liver. It's very good. And so liver casserole is pretty cheap, and members will make it for you, or you can buy it at the store for, I think it's 99 cents or something. Anyway, I would get it all the time. And you have liver casserole, you have carrot casserole, potato casserole, then you have other ones of like certain things that we don't have in America. But yeah, and then delicious drinks, a lot of juices. And Finns drink a lot of coffee and tea, but obviously we won't be drinking that as missionaries. And so they have delicious juices of wide varieties, and the snacks, everything is good. I didn't taste anything that was gross besides the traditional food that they eat that's gross on purpose, at least in my opinion. And then you have porridge and that kind of stuff too. So everything is just great. You don't have to worry about anything, and you'll eat plenty of fish. I forgot that. Salmon. I love salmon. It's so good. Salmon, halibut, and some other fish dishes. No sushi. I didn't really have any sushi. They don't, in missionaries, we don't eat sushi anyway. So anyway, but yeah, food's good there.